Hello to all the Sailor Moon fans out there. Aside from being a huge shoujo manga fan, in general, my biggest fandom is Sailor Moon. I recently got my hands on a prime condition Sailor Moon art book volume 1, and so I wanted to go through it with all of you in all of its glory. Even the cover image is beautiful. I always love images with all 5 of the inner senshi, Sailor Moon herself included. I always loved the original idea of Usagi having white hair, which the mangaka was asked to change because apparently when the manga was first in development, they thought her hair wasn't a striking enough color. Fortunately, the mangaka got to keep this idea for her Princess Serenity form within the manga. Fortunately, I was very easily able to confirm that my copy of Art Book Volume 1 is authentic, and one of the easiest ways to confirm this is that this first page be transparent, because in many bootlegs it is actually a solid color. Let's just be real, every image of this art book is stunning. Personally, I always appreciated how often Naoko Tokuichi uses things like doilies as part of her decoration. In a very logical order, we have Ami and Rei presented as part of the first images of the art book, which makes perfect sense because they are the first 2 senshi introduced to us. Following that logic, we now have Sailor Jupiter, aka Mako-chan, and Minako-chan. I love how Sailor Venus / Mako-chan / Sailor V is often presented in a very sporty sort of way. In other images, we see her and Rei preparing to play things like volleyball, and so we see her here in action, even though she's not in her senshi form. Here we see Usagi as Sailor Moon in one of the earlier forms where it is included that she has a mask as part of her henshin. For whatever reason, this idea was eventually scrapped, and only Tuxedo Common keeps the mask. This one is one of my favorite images, so much so that I even did my own fan art rendition of it a few months back. I just love Usagi's expression and the colors used. Even though we see the moon, the colors utilized are very reminiscent of a sunset. As someone who did this as fan art recently, I can tell you that it's really difficult to draw Usagi's hair. Like all those curves and all those highlights. She would give a hairstylist a run for their money, I'll tell you that. This is another example of design choices and color choices. As we know, in her Sailor Senshi form, Sailor Moon does not have the silver white hair that you find in her Princess Serenity form, nor does she have the mask. Here we have another prime example of the aesthetic differences between Usagi in her Sailor Senshi form and in her civilian form. Here we seem to see Usagi in the form and aesthetic that we eventually see in the original manga, And even Luna looks a bit more like the Luna that we eventually see throughout the manga. This, my friends, is probably my all-time favorite colored image throughout the entire series, which is featured as the cover image for Chapter 4, where Tuxedo Kamen and Usagi, aka Mamo-chan and Usagi, meet each other at the masquerade ball. I've been shipping Mamo-chan and Usagi together since probably before shipping was an official thing. This is one of the rare times that we see illustrated the inner senshi and what we presume to be their princess forms, even though who we have here are Ami, Rei, and Mako-chan, and we don't have Sailor Venus / Minako in this particular image. But everyone looks great in their power color, especially in my opinion. Rei, although Tuxedo Mask and Usagi aren't actually interacting in this image, they do look quite striking in the image. Tuxedo Kamen looks particularly dashing. This is probably one of my second favorite color images of the series, if for no other reason than because it is featured as the cover image of the chapter in which Mamo-chan reveals himself to be none other than Tuxedo Kamen. In this image, we have the inner senshi represented by their power colors, especially Usagi, Mako, and Rei. We are told in several different interviews that Naoko considers pink to be Usagi's power color, and that is the main reason why Chibiusa's hair is pink as opposed to being the same color as Usagi's. I really wish Chibiusa's eyes were actually blue as well, because both of her parents have blue eyes, but we can only apply so much logic to manga and anime. This is the image that is featured on the cover of one of the early chapters of Sailor Moon, when the inner senshi, including Sailor Venus, go to the moon to discover their past after the short and not very convincing portion of the arc where Sailor Venus pretends to be the lost moon princess in order to, what she believed, protect Usagi and the others from their original fate. The Sailor Moon mangaka Naoko Takeuchi is known for really being a fan of high fashion. It's even well known for Sailor Moon fans that the Princess Serenity dress is actually based on a high couture wedding dress from the early 90s. So it's not uncommon for us to see Usagi, and definitely later on in the series, the outer senshi in clothes that are straight from high fashion magazines or even high fashion inspired poses. Honestly, I'm just a real sucker for Princess Serenity images. I even have the Princess Serenity dress from Hot Topic. I just really love Usagi in her Princess Serenity form. It's not very often from the mangaka that we just see a plain white background, Sailor Moon background images. They tend to be very colorful and very vibrant, but I think if there was any point here, it was just so that we could see, for example, Endymion's eyes and Princess Serenity's eyes, and just how striking and beautiful that they are. In this image, both Princess Serenity and Prince Endymion have very demure, almost sad expressions on their faces, although they're also being very close. I think this just harkens back to what their original fate was during the Silver Millennium. As Princess Serenity and Prince Endymion, the two lovers often had to meet in secret, and so this is reminiscent of that. This is probably my favorite image in their Princess Serenity and Prince Endymion forms, just because the colors are so striking. We see very strong and brave expressions on their faces. Naku Tokuichi has told us that this image of the inner senshi with Prince Endymion's guards of the Earth Kingdom was meant so that she could play around with the idea of these four couples having been an item in their past lives as well. It never officially becomes canon that that was the case, but Sailor Moon Crystal definitely ran with the idea, with especially all of the characters making reference to the girls as if they had known them before and found them attractive. Especially this guy right here. He definitely has a thing for Rey. Look at him. Jediite. Anyone who knows a bit about Greek mythology can understand why in their prince and princess form, you very often see one of the two sleeping. And that is because in Greek mythology, the goddess of the moon, Serenity, aka Diana, of course she goes by many names because we are talking about mythology, falls in love with a human, and in order to protect him, he sleeps for many, many centuries or generations. And so that's one of the main reasons why we often see the two sleeping in images. This is just a very fun, colorful image of Usagi in her Sailor Senshi form, as well as the image on the next page. I just love them because they're so colorful and very, here I am, eventually to become one of the world's most famous magical girls. In the liner notes of this art book, Naku Tokuichi jokes that Luna looks a little chubby in this image. Naku Tokuichi has said time and time again in interviews that one of the things that inspired her while writing and originally creating Sailor Moon is that with the inner senshi as well as Usagi herself, she created girls that she herself would be happy to be friends with. And I think that really shows in terms of the friendship and bond among the girls. In this particular image, in the liner notes, Naoko Tokuichi says that she was very determined to create an image where you see the senshi barefoot. I think that this particular idea is uncommon, and perhaps that's why she was so determined to create such an image. It's a little difficult. I'm trying to show Usagi as best as I can in this image, but it's a bit difficult considering how large the image is. Okay, there we go. That's the best I could do for this particular image, I think. Here we see example of smaller but cute images featuring Usagi and Luna, as well as the inner senshi. She really wanted to according to the liner notes, have an image where you see the girls utilizing ribbons in such way, and one of the inspirations was that in the original 90s version of the anime, you see the girls' henshin or transformation utilizing a lot of ribbons. If I remember correctly, for this particular image, in the liner notes, Naoko Tokiichi says that she just wanted an image where, as opposed to saving the world 24/7, the girls are just being teenagers and relaxing. Of course, we can count on Usagi to be taking a nap. And we see images of celebration as well as Usagi taking a nap. I feel like even more so than any of the other senshi, we see Rei and Minako-chan in swimsuits. I feel like, if any, they are probably two of the senshi most comfortable with themselves, and that's probably why they are featured in swimsuits a tiny bit more often. This is probably one of the more famous Christmassy Sailor Moon images that the average Sailor Moon fan will be well acquainted with. It's one of my favorites. They just look so happy and festive. I always like the fact that Usagi is typically featured in the center of images. In regards to the inner senshi, it kind of emphasizes the idea that she is the heart of the team, which I just think it's cute personally as a fan. This, of course, is one of everyone's favorite Sailor Moon birthday-esque images. Of course, Usagi has bunny ears or rabbit ears because, as we all typically know, that's what her name means in Japanese. This is another image where you see one of the two sleeping, which again harkens back to the Greek mythology of Endymion, although the goddess of the moon is in love with him. But also, Naoko Tokiichi makes a note that she often draws people sleeping in other people's laps because it is one of the ways that she herself likes to fall asleep. So I think that's cute to include it in her artwork. It's one of the ways that a little piece of herself is included in her artwork. I think this image serves as a reminder more than anything else that we wouldn't have Sailor Moon if not for the original series starring Sailor Venus, which is called Sailor V, which, although short, 2 volumes, it is actually a really cute series of Minako-chan's original adventures. And here we have Sailor Moon in some of her original silver-haired masked design. Sailor Moon holding Sailor Moon. It's a bit of a strange image, but really cute. I love the colors and the surprised, almost bewildered look on Luna's face. I love this page of small supplemental sort of images. It almost looks like you could cut out the senshi and make your own little bookmarks. More such artwork continues on this page. My favorite is Usagi's expression in the center. Let me just get a good shot of Sailor Jupiter. Make sure we show Sailor Jupiter some love too. Here we have more cute small images featured as like supplements and things of that nature in Nako Yoshi magazine, the original magazine publisher for the series. Oh, look at them in chibi form. Look at the tuxedo comic. So cute. More cute, smaller images. I feel like the images on the bottom would make great clear file folder designs. Like, they just look so cute in this chibi form. Here we have another very well-known image of the 5 inner senshi together. I love how Ray / Sailor Mars and Sailor Jupiter look in this particular image, as is typical with Sailor Moon in the center. These next 2 pages are just full of small art gems. I love this particular image of Usagi. We see Sailor Venus with her sword because she is actually the original leader of the Senshi, with Usagi having been Princess Serenity in the Silver Millennium. So I just think even if you just take a quick look at some of the images, you see all the cute little things. You see Usagi's parents and her family, even though Shinko can be such a little jerk. And I wish that we got more development out of him in some iteration of the series. These images are just really cute and really funny. It's like little humor comics, if you will. The colors are just lovely, though. Can you believe that part of her original design had Sailor Moon wielding a gun? I'm glad we got all the cute wands and everything that we eventually got throughout the series. So that's one particular idea that I'm grateful was scrapped. The following pages are all the liner notes for each image. I just like that this one starts off with the cover image of the art book as well as the back image, which I'm about to show you guys a better look at because I just love Mamo-chan so much. This is actually one of my favorite images of Mamo-chan as Tuxedo Common, or as he's known in the English dub, Tuxedo Mask. He's just so handsome, and that is honestly the mangaka's inspiration for his design. She legitimately wanted someone who looked good in a text. Like, in terms of design, that was her inspiration for the character.